Going live, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Forrest Knight. Hey, thanks for swinging by out here in St. Louis. Just going to give this just a few seconds to jump across all the platforms. It looks like I'm streaming to a page, to 2 pages, to YouTube twice, and I think maybe 2 YouTube channels and 2 other Facebook pages. So we'll see how that all pops out. Got some good stuff to go for you. So wanted to talk about. I'm going to talk about how to do a Facebook Live, even if you're the most beginnerific person on the planet, and how to seem like a pro. So you won't be scared out here. So wanted to swing by again. If this is your first time joining me, make sure you tell me what part of the country you're chiming in from. Swing by, say hello. If you think you have some people on your team that might get some value from this, feel free to tag them, have them swing by, check it out. Got a lot of good stuff going on here. I know it's a little bit late, but it is Hell Week on the JOB, which means 12 and 12 and 12 and 12 and 12. So by the time the week wraps out, I'll be at 70 hours by the close of business on Saturday, which is going to be cray. And in the middle of that, I've got to figure out how to keep my business, my side hustle flow going on there. So it's going to be tiring, and try to keep a regular life and have a wife and everything when it's all said and done at the end. So feel free again to tell me what part of the country you're chiming in from. What's the weather like? It was pretty decent here in St. Louis today. So got a lot of good stuff going on. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm a husband, father of 5, live in St. Louis. I work, I specialize in sales and social media marketing training with a goal to have no more empty refrigerators when the dust settles. So really appreciate you swinging by. Absolutely excited about what we're going to talk about today. Got a really cool bonus for you if you want to hang around to the end of the live. We got a really cool special bonus for those of you that hang out, or at least for maybe a couple of you that hang out at the end. So you got to stay till the end of the live to check that out. So as I go through this, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. It should pop up in my little chat app down here, and I'll walk through this. Is how do you do a Facebook Live? So if you're a brand new person, if you're a beginner, you've never been on here, it's like, what do I talk about? What do I say? What do I do? What happens? What's all the fun stuff? First of all, you'll notice I have tons of light around here. My background is sort of a little bit. I'm actually sitting in my living room or my dining room here at the dining room table. I'm actually going to move upstairs, helping the wife rearrange the office. So what I'm going to do upstairs, and I'm just telling you guys this, so this is sort of part of the whole Facebook thing, and you can get to it. And the point that I'm making here is that when you're doing a Facebook Live, try to find some place in your house that doesn't have a bunch of clutter. So I try to just do a basic curtain, like I'm sitting here in the curtain. Now I've got another area over here, so it's like a lamp and a window and a picture that I could turn around, making me look like I'm in a house. And I try to clutter things up so there's not like extracurricular furniture in the room, or I may turn my camera just a little bit so I can get a little bit different view there, just to clean it up so that when I'm talking and when I'm presenting, that the focus is on me and it's not on some kind of crazy something going on behind me. It has a nice background. So my point is when I move upstairs, the wife is we're taking the office, and I'm actually going to move down to the second or third bedroom there. I'm going to put that up and have a nice green screen up behind. It's going to be nice and smooth. One of the reasons I'm doing a green screen, and you don't have to do this, it's just me, is so that when I actually do some live trainings and things like that, I can use the green screen and train in the back. However, if you're a brand new beginner person, you don't have to do all that. Just have to have a nice clean background, something that's not cluttered, something that's not distracting. There's no TVs or anything going on in the background, so that as you're doing a squeeze, you definitely don't want to be doing a live, then have something controversial pop up on the TV behind you that might not jive with all your audience. So just keep that in mind. I don't know why my iPad is just freaking out over here. So first of all, when you start out on a Facebook Live, the very first thing you want to do is you want to have a title about what you're going to talk about. You notice my title is about how to do a Facebook Live, even if you're a beginner, and come off like a pro. So the first thing is you want to have a title on your Facebook Live. You don't ever want to just go live and just have you just talking. Now, if you're super famous like the Kardashians or somebody like that, then you could probably get on. Everybody's going to jump on the world. Is there a certain time of day? So that's sort of step number one, or tip number one, is have a decent background behind you that's not cluttered, that doesn't have a lot of distractions. Try to find some place that's quiet. There's nothing going on. Make sure that it's well lit. You notice I've got all the lights on here turned on. I've also got this very cool, let me show it to you. Got this very cool ring light. It's got a clip on the bottom here, and I can clip this and I can carry it around with me. That's what it looks like there. It's got a cool ring on it. I actually got this from Rank Makers. And when I'm doing one with my phone, this is portable, so I can actually fold it up. I can actually set my phone in this little clip here, and everything moves around. So this is my portable light. It actually has a USB cord on it. Let me slide it back there to the back like that, and I can position around where I want to, and I can adjust the light temperature on this depending on what I want to do. So I can go a little bit more yellow, and I can go super bright. I can turn the brightness down a little bit if I want to go a little bit lighter, and then I can go to the yellow mode there, and I can adjust it around. Depends on where I want to put it a little bit behind my camera, so that basically the light's all on me. And of course, when you talk, depending on what you're talking to, you always want to talk to the camera. So my camera is actually on a tripod that's up above my laptop, so I'll look down here depending on where I'm looking at. You want to talk to the camera. The biggest challenge that if you're going to do it on your phone, if you're going to talk on your phone, you need to make sure that you look at the little camera portal that's on your phone. You might even have to put a little arrow that says talk here if you get it on your phone. Same thing on your iPad. Find out what side of the camera, what side of the iPad the camera's on, and always look directly at the little camera. You might have to put a little sticky note on there in the beginning to stay focused. So a couple of tips. So I've already gone over 3. Make sure your background isn't cluttered and crazy. Make sure you've got some really good lighting going on. So that's tip number 2. Make sure that you're talking to the camera. That's tip number 3. So background, lighting, talk to the camera, make sure you're all good to go. Oh, actually, that's tip number 4, because I talked about your headline. So I actually got to have a headline that when people are going through, it's going to provide value. And of course, in the headline, you've got to talk about what you're talking about. So let's talk about the actual formula itself. So you've got the techie stuff set up. So you've got the lighting going on, you've got your camera set up, you got your background, you're all ready to go to do the live. So the first part of that live is you're going to have a decent headline in there that's going to make people stop the scroll. What are you talking about? You're going to come on to your live and you're going to introduce yourself like I did earlier. I'm a social media and sales marketing trainer. That's what I specialize in, with the goal of help creating no more empty refrigerators. If you haven't heard me talk about that, we can go into that, but that's basically my intro. So I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to invite people on as they come in. I may say hello to them. And this is me. Not everybody talks to their audience when they come through. Some people do, some people don't. But I talk to my audience. I try to say hello to them when they swing by and they jump into my chat, which is something that some people do, some people don't. So 1, have a headline, introduce yourself. And then part 2, after you introduce yourself, is you're going to ask a question. So my question would be, have you ever done, or have you ever been afraid to do a Facebook Live? You ever wondered how to do one so you sound like a professional? That would be congruent with what my headline says, how to do a Facebook Live as a beginner so you seem like a pro. So here's how you do it. You make sure you have the right lighting. You make sure you talk to the camera. You make sure you have a decent background. You make sure you have a good headline. You make sure you have an intro going on. Then once you do your intro, you're going to ask a question that's related to your headline. Have you ever, as a beginner, have you ever tried to figure out what you need to talk about, or how do you do a Facebook Live as a beginner so you sound like a pro? So here's all of that to say this. Your content, where do you get your content? What do you figure out what to talk about? Content is everywhere. You don't have to be a professional. As a matter of fact, if you're building a team in network marketing, the last thing you want to do is come off as a professional like, I'm a doctor, so I'm going to talk about doctor stuff all the time on my lives. And your team or the people, your audience you're talking to is like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do business with that person because they're a doctor and they're really smart and they know a lot more than me. So how do you come off as a professional talking about? Now, I could talk about sales training and all that kind of stuff, and people go, oh my God, I don't want to do that. So how do I find something to talk about? I can find anything to talk about anywhere. There's this really cool website they just invented. It's called the Googles. It's very, very neat. You can go on there and you can Google magazines. You can Google like Success Magazine, Work From Home. Maybe if you're over 50 and you want to talk about some AARP stuff, you can do an AARP stuff. And the goal with that is to go online and find articles. You can also go to the store and grab a bunch of magazines. You might get junk mail magazines in the mail. One of my favorite magazines of all time is Parenting Magazine. Very, very cool magazine that has all kinds of stuff in it. You don't even have to have kids in the house to talk about it, but there's tons of articles in there. And the way you would present that is, hey, are you a parent struggling with what to do with your kids during COVID-19? Here's 10 projects that you can come up with your kids. And I, as a non-kid person, I could open up Parenting Magazine and put that as my headline, 10 things to do with your kids at home during COVID-19, put that as my headline. I would say, hey, have you ever struggled with trying to come up with new ideas on what to do with your kids during the lockdown, right? Here's the deal. And I would read right out of the magazine, tip number 1 in Parenting Magazine, it says da 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 da. And I could go through these tips in Parenting Magazine and read those. And then I could say, hey, and by the way, there's another 15 tips that are available. And I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up. So I throw out the headline there, 10 tips to 10 things to do with your kids during lockdown and COVID-19. I found these ideas. It's very, very cool. You're going to ask the question, hey, have you ever wondered what to do with your kids during lockdown? You're running out of ideas. Well, I found these real cool ideas, and I found them in Parenting Magazine. And guess what you do? You open up the magazine and you read directly from the magazine. Now, can anybody do that? Yes. So as a beginner, you can sound like a pro because you're giving valid information. You're giving good advice to people that might want to come up with you. It's like, man, this is a cool idea. So you're going through this and you're reading these articles. And this could be it could be cooking, crafts, general information, whatever article you found that you think that you might want to share with somebody because you thought it was cool. You might read something, go, oh, that's a cool idea. Maybe how to change a battery in some kind of funky widget. So you go through those 10 steps with that, and you say, by the way, there's another 15 tips in this Parenting Magazine, and this is the call to action part of the Facebook Live. So you do the intro, you ask the question, you do the content, and of course at the end, your last step is to do a call to action, and I'll explain the call to action. I'll explain the reason why the call to action is very important. Now, to be forward with you, I don't do a call to action on every single live. Probably 90% of them I do. Some of them I just want to throw out some information, maybe some mindset stuff, and I want to do that. And I do that for a reason. I want to get some engagement. I want to find out what people are talking about. I may ask them general questions in terms of the Facebook Live, and I may go back and then interact with people that have commented on the Facebook Live. The cool thing about a Facebook Live is everybody's all concerned about how many views I'm getting like right now. I'm not worried about that because the Facebook Live comes back 30 days from now. I can go back and look at that, and some of my initial views might start at 25. 30 days from now, they've grown to 125. So they're out there. Once they're out there, they're evergreen. This Facebook Live is going to be on Facebook forever unless Facebook decides to shut it down or delete it or remove it. It's going to be there forever, right? The content's going to be there forever. Then the cool thing about it is once I've taught this, once I've trained this, I can come back and repurpose this Facebook Live. I can put it on YouTube. Well, it's already going up on YouTube. I can download it. I can share it. I can tag it. Or 30, 40 days from now, I can do a watch party. I can share this as a watch party in my own Facebook Live. And the cool thing about watch parties, you guys, if you haven't figured this out, this is for the beginner tips and the pros. Watch parties get a lot of freaking eyeballs on them. It's a Facebook thing, but you start a watch party on one of your older videos and you repurpose that content. If it's got like over 100 views, grab the title, maybe adjust it a little bit and repurpose it and bring it back. Go back about 45 days. I do a Facebook Live every day. So I've got an entire archive of Facebook Lives that I have access to that I can repurpose. Maybe I've just ran out of time during the day. Maybe I lost my voice and I want to repurpose a Facebook Live because here's the catch. People are going to say, well, everybody's seeing my Facebook Live. No, they're not. No, they're not. I've got 3,600 friends on Facebook, and I can guarantee you 50 of them might see this Facebook Live right now. Maybe get to 100. So that means I still have 3,500 people that have not seen my live. So how do you get them to see your live? You could go out to all 3,500 of them and say, hey, I got this live. Hey, you got to come check it out. They're not going to do it. So don't worry about it. You could repurpose the same live 52 times once a week for the rest of your life. And all of your Facebook friends, unless you've only got 2 Facebook friends, all your Facebook friends are never going to see it. They just won't, because that's just the way the algorithm works. Trust me, all of my Facebook friends do not have a clue on this live right now. There's a very, very small percentage of them that do. Thank you for swinging by. I really appreciate it. Some people will comment, some people won't. I don't care. My goal is to put the information out there and to make an impact and end up with no more empty refrigerators. So rewind a little bit. So we got all the technical stuff going. We got the camera set up. We got the lighting going on. We got the background going on. We started our Facebook Live. We got a headline up there to stop the scroll. So when people are going through there, and of course, there's some pre-stuff that you do before you start the live. We'll maybe do that on the next training. Matter of fact, we'll do that tomorrow. We'll talk about what you do before you go live on our Facebook Live tomorrow to help you get more engagement on your Facebook Live. So we'll do that. You guys got to remind me. That's what we're talking about tomorrow. That'll be my Tech Tuesday talk. On Tuesday, we'll talk about what to do before you go live on a Facebook Live to get more engagement on your Facebook Live. Does that sound fair? So we'll do that tomorrow. So you got your title up there. You intro yourself. Hi, my name is blah, 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 blah. This is what I do. This is why I'm here. This is why I'm showing up. And you ask the question basically relating to your headline. How would you like 10 tips on how to 10 cool ideas to do with your kids during the lockdown? I've got these cool tips, and I found them in Parenting Magazine, and you go through and you read the tips, you read the tips off, and then you have what they call a call to action. The call to action, now here's the point of the call to action. The point of the call to action, and I learned this all in Rank Makers, by the way. This isn't something I invented. I learned in Rank Makers. It works very, very well. The call to action is, hey, I've got these 15 additional tips. If you like those, shoot me a private message. I really love the tip number 17. It's just like life-changing when it comes to dealing with kids at home and lockdown every day. You've got to get these tips if you're a parent struggling with trying to figure out what to do with your kids during this lockdown. Shoot me a private message. I'll get those to you. And then you do your closing. I really appreciate you coming by. This is Forrest out in St. Louis. I love you. Jesus loves you. And you go through and you close and you're out and you disconnect and you're off. Now, the reason for your call to action, is you want people to engage. You want people to get off of Facebook Live and you want to get them into your messenger box, right? You want to get them into your messenger box so you can have a conversation with them. You're now in lead generation mode. You want to have the conversation with them and talk to them. Hey, so I see you got, what are you doing at home? What kind of job you do? What kind of business you have? You may go peep their profile a little bit, see what they're having so you can have a conversation with them and say, hey, by the way, one of the things that I do is I work with mothers just like you. I work with parents just like you to help them create a residual income as a side hustle. I was wondering if you might be able to take a look at what I'm doing, make a little bit of extra money on the side while I'm working from home. If not, absolutely no big deal. Just let me know either way. By the way, here's those, and you wait. And of course, they're going to respond back or something in terms of that fashion. Or, hey, when I get back to my computer, I'll send you these 10 tips. And you it's called a CTA delay. You're going to delay a little bit while you're waiting for them to answer. Then you get back to your computer, and of course, you go ahead and you make sure you send them those 15 additional tips or whatever it is you promised them. So if you're a beginner and you got some value out of this, I'm going to recap. I'm going to go back to the beginning. I'm going to talk about. So background, make sure it's not cluttered. Make sure you have decent lighting. Make sure you talk to the camera. That's your basic technical setup. So you can do it anywhere you want to. If you're talking to your phone, make sure you're always looking at the little dot where your camera is. If you need to get a little sticky note, put an arrow right there so you remember where to look. Talk to the camera. You don't have to have a lot of makeup on. You don't have to be all gussied up. You can just be you on camera. It's really cool. There's some people like Julie Anderson. She gets on camera. She's just a nut on camera. She's really, really good. She does a really, really good job doing Facebook Lives because she's just her, and people appreciate that. People want to be attracted to you, not some faux version of you that if they saw you at the store out in the public, they would have no idea who you are. If you see me, I look just like this unless I am in my work clothes, and then I look just like this in work clothes. So lighting, camera, background, get ready to go. Put your title up there. Intro yourself. Ask the question that's related to your title. Go into your content. Deliver the content. Throw out your call to action. Ask people if they want additional information about what you talked about, or maybe even a link to the article, whatever it is that makes sense. You want to get them to engage with you offline in the messenger so you can have a conversation with them. And of course, you close out and say, my name is Forrest out in St. Louis. I love you. Jesus loves you. There's absolutely nothing to do about it. No more empty refrigerators. Go out and make an extreme impact. Peace out. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.